What's going on? What's going on? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of This Brother Talks. Uh, just want to tell everybody who comes on, thank you for checking it out. Thank you for participating. Just really appreciate you. Just every week I come and I just give my honest opinion on topics in sports. It's a lot of sports that I could talk about, but I really just talk about just a few here and there. And so you know, um, and this week it was a couple of things that has happened, over the week. We had the NFL draft. Aaron Rodgers made some news. The NBA playoffs is approaching. We got like 8 games left before the playoffs start. Had some comments by LeBron James. He just keeps shooting himself in the foot. And then going to discuss the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo and his big game on yesterday. So we're just going to dig right into it, and we're going to start off by talking about the NFL draft. And I'll be straight up honest with you, I did not watch not one single solitary second of the NFL draft. I got updates on my Philadelphia Eagles, who they drafted, and then plus, who was the first, 2 or 3 draft picks that happened. But I didn't watch it because 1, is too long. 2, I think is very overrated. 3, it's just they make big hype about certain people or whatever, and then just don't pan out to be what they say they're going to be. So, I think the NFL is one of those sports where it's a man's game, and so some people that you think are going to be great, it's hard to handle because it's a big jump from the NFL from college to the NFL. But on that note, I'm going to talk about something that Deion Sanders put out, which I thought was very, very interesting that this happened, and I never looked at it this way. Especially not this year, because I really, like I said, I don't pay attention to the NFL draft because it's just entirely too long. But he made a point in saying that it was 259 total picks in the NFL draft, and not one came from an HBCU. That is kind of interesting, and that's the reason why, I feel like some of these top names need to start going to some of these, especially black kids. If you get a group of them that go to HBCUs, then they have to start putting those games on TV. People have to see these guys, because if you're not on TV, a lot of times, you can say, oh, we stream it and this, that, and the third. But if it's not televised and your name is not out there like that, they don't see you week in and week out and all that good stuff, then you get overlooked tremendously. And it's sad that, out of 259 that none came from there. And then he said he watched some that, that could have easily got a nod to be drafted drafting in the NFL. With that being said, I hope that, Primetime stands behind his word, which that's what he's been doing here lately. At Jackson State, he's been, trying to, change the culture and, everything about that entire organization or entire university. And so I hope he's able to change that at Jackson State and HBCUs. If, you can start getting some big name recruits, and, they got to start televising games. They'll show these games, and, NFL scouts and stuff, they'll get to see them, because truth be told, they already have who they want to pick, who they're going to have. It's already like that. So they need to go to these NFL combines and stuff like that. All they want to see is how fast you run, see if they, if their eye test was right before they got you in front of them to do all this other stuff. It's sad because, it's a lot of people that get overlooked whenever they go to smaller schools or, not one of these nationally ranked schools. A lot of kids get overlooked. I mean, it just happens. It happens in all sports, from, football, the baseball, the basketball, all sports. This is what happened. But, hopefully, he's shedding light on something, and maybe some of these kids and some of these players will eventually get, looked at whenever, time progresses. Sometimes it just take a little time for certain stuff. Like once somebody brings stuff to the light and bring it to the forefront, then that's when things really start changing. And so hopefully Dion is on to something, and hopefully we can get some of these, HBCUs players, that want to stay within their heritage and all that good stuff, which I completely understand that. Some people just be like, well, this is where I want to go because I want to, keep it, because it's sometimes just family traditions. You have, families, that went to this school, and you got generations and generations and generations of, people going to that school or whatever. So, hopefully he's get this and shed more light on it, because that's what needs to be done. And it's a lot of people say that it's sad, but I mean, this is where we at, and everybody knows that whenever you're trying to get drafted to any type of professional, right, you got to be seen. And just like at a combine, that's really not going to get you seen. They want to see combine, and they want to see you on the football field, and they want to see against elite talent. So it's just it's going to be a recruiting thing for HBCUs, and so hopefully this right here will stir the pot and get more big names going there, so they will think that the competition, is equivalent. So, 259 that were drafted and none from there. We got a long ways to go whenever it comes to that. And we're going to stay right into football, and we're going to jump right on to a topic. Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. The writing's been on the wall the last couple of years for Aaron Rodgers. It's just a matter of when everything is going to explode, in my personal opinion, because he's been kind of silent about it. And he finally come out and, some people in the organization said that he doesn't want to be there, and he's feeling disrespected. And I mean, which he should, because I mean, the guy won a Super Bowl, won one. They haven't really put, the weapons around them that they should. Then they drafted a quarterback last year, if I'm not mistaken, and they could easily went out the receivers and all that good stuff. Aaron Rodgers has earned the right to, want to say, well, I don't want to be here no more. I want to go elsewhere. And I think he's seen what Tom Brady did, and, going to a different organization, the organization taking him seriously, the organization, listening to what he's saying to help build, a winning culture, and then eventually win a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that those two are on the same magnitude, because Tom Brady has won more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers. But, in a talent perspective, Aaron Rodgers, they say that he is one of the best quarterbacks that they ever seen. And I mean, he can sling the football and everything. But I have another question. Where is all the uproar? Because, I recall seeing some other people asking for trades and, not wanting to be in certain situations because they felt disrespected, or they wasn't too happy with the organization. And, everybody gave him a hard time. You get paid, to do this, and shut your mouth and play, and this, that, and the third. But I don't hear. I think I read something about Terry Bradshaw saying that the Packers should just allow him to go ahead and retire. Which, I mean, I don't think that will happen, because the guy, I think he got some more years left at him, especially if he gets with a good organization where they can keep him upright. But my question is, where's all the uproar? Because I mean, every player that is in a significant situation, if they're not satisfied, they're gonna want out. Aaron Rodgers wants out because of whatever reasons. From Matt LaFleur, basically he just basically gave the game away last year in the playoffs, where I feel like he should have went for it, and I think Aaron Rodgers was thinking the same thing, that it was 4 down territory. So, but he took the ball out of his hand and put it in Tom Brady's hand, which he basically had to get 1 or 2 first downs, and that was the end of the ball game. They draft another quarterback instead of drafting receivers whenever this guy still has a lot left in the tank. And I could understand that, they probably wanted to go ahead and get a quarterback. So, go ahead and draft his successor. But, I feel like it was a slap in the face to him. It wasn't like, I don't think it was the Brett Favre situation whenever they drafted him and they knew Brett was on his way out and all that good stuff. And then, but we already know what happened with that. But where's all the uproar? Where's all the problems that he's asking to be out? He's asking that that they trade him, or, just he doesn't want to be there anymore. And it happens all the time with, a lot of players and a lot of organizations. Like, if the organization is ran like shit, I don't want to be a part of it. Plain and simple. And that's what it's looking like in Aaron Rodgers' situation right now. That it's been ran like nothing, like it's just bad. And because if I got a franchise quarterback and I'm the GM and I'm the owner, I'm going to try to keep that guy happy. Especially, because for the last 2 years, they've been one of the best teams in the NFL, and possibly, just fell short in the playoffs. And it had a lot to do with, the first year it was Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers' first year together. And then, this year LaFleur takes the ball out of his hands and give it to Brady, in a crucial situation, late in the game. So, they've had their chances. They've had their opportunities. It's just a matter of, if the organization want to keep this guy happy. Like, there's nowhere in the world I'm going to have Aaron Rodgers type talent and don't draft receivers and put weapons around him to make that offense go. Because, with the people that he's had, he still had great seasons and all that good stuff. So, we're going to see what's going to happen with this whole situation, because, I haven't seen him come out and publicly say it. It's just been, people saying within the organization this stuff happened. But it's funny how it leaks out. And it leaked out on draft night, which I thought was going to be kind of crazy, because I thought it was going to be a whole lot of trades. Like, I thought people were going to be, oh, Aaron Rodgers don't want this, so let's make up some trades. But I did see where it is a couple of teams that's interested in them, and they got the Raiders and the Broncos at 2 potentials. So, we'll see what happens. I know that teams in the NFC, if he went to the AFC, they would be happy that he's gone, because they don't have to deal with him. And maybe if they play against him just that one time that year, if they're playing against him that year. So I know that would make them happy. But, right now the Raiders and the Broncos are 2 potentials. And so, we'll see what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. And TC, I thought about you whenever they said the Raiders. I was like, I know you'll be happy because you got Derek Carr, but you'll be happy to get rid of him and get you an MVP and Aaron Rodgers. But my only issue with you, man, is John Gruden. I don't know if he can get the job done, man. He done screwed up your organization, in my personal opinion. But I figured you'd believe. I figured you'd go for that one, TC. But yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I would just like to see the same energy from all those people who had an issue, with Deshaun Watson asking for trades and all that good stuff. Yeah, Gruden stayed. He stayed relevant, and the Super Bowl that he won, TC, he won it with Tony Dungy's players. And so after that, he started reventing stuff and getting rid of people and, all that good stuff. And so he ain't had a chance to win nothing since then, because he was using somebody else. But that's Tony Dungy's Super Bowl. End of story. Plain and simple. And I'm going to leave that at that, because that's a whole other topic for me. So we're going to move right on along. and we are going to discuss the NBA playoff picture. The NBA playoff picture is starting to heat up. We have about 7-8 games left. Some teams have 8 games, and it's really looking like it's going to pan out to be like a pretty good playoff, because the situation that we have with the play-in and all that good stuff. They're taking 10 teams. So far, Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee all have clinched playoffs in the East. Phoenix and Utah and the Clippers all have clinched. But right now, you got 7 through 10 that will be having to play in. And so 7 through 10 in the East is Boston, Charlotte, Indiana, and Washington so far. And those guys will have to play against each other to, get a play in to go from there. Out in the West, you have Portland at 7, Memphis 8, Golden State 9, San Antonio 10. But we have a 3-way tie between Dallas, the Lakers, and Portland. And with that being said, the Lakers are on a downward spiral. I think Portland, if they can string together, 5 out of 7 or something like that, they could possibly get past that play-in game. But if LeBron doesn't come back pretty soon, I feel like the Lakers are going to keep sliding and keep sliding and keep sliding. And I don't really know what that would do for them. It just doesn't look good for them. Well, the way the league is now, if you clinch, do you load manage your stars? Load management, that's a whole nother topic, but that is a part of the league now. So load management going to happen regardless if they clinch or they didn't clinch. They feel like, they're going to need to have those guys fresh whenever that time comes or whatever. So, we shall see. But I don't know about that. But, we have some pivotal games just coming up, especially with the Lakers. The Lakers are, one of those teams that, when healthy, we thought was going to be one of the top teams. In the East, it's starting to pan out to be, I'm really disappointed with Boston, and everybody knows how I feel about that. There's nowhere in the world that Boston should be in a playing game with 7th seed with Jason Tatum, Brown, Kemba Walker, and the team that they have, I just can't see why they will be in the 7th seed with a 34-31 record. That team is far more talented than what their record shows. Like, it's way better than what their record shows. And, I feel like Brad Stevens is the problem. The Hornets in the East, I felt like if LaMelo wouldn't have never got hurt, I feel like they would be one of those top teams. I think they would be up there with the Atlantas and the Miamis. Indiana, they just been having, kind of an up and down season. I ain't gonna say it's been great because they're at 30 and 33. Then we have the Wizards at 10. I think they will cause some problems if they were able to get in because of Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. And they really have that team playing really, really, really good together now. And they're making a push. They're in the 10th seed right now. So right now they're in the play-in. So we'll see what happens with them. And so, like I said, we have 8 games left, and we're going to move over here to the West. I mean, you have Phoenix that's leading the West. Them and Utah are tied. So evidently they hold a tiebreaker with Utah right now. Then you have Denver 3rd. The Clippers are 4. And then Dallas and the Lakers are 5 and 6. And remember, those two are tied. And then you got 7 with Portland. They're tied with Dallas and LA. So anything can happen. Somebody lose, they drop down. So if the Lakers lose, they'll drop down. Portland win, they'll go up. Then you have Memphis at 8, Golden State at 9, San Antonio at 10. The Golden State team, the way they've been playing, the way Steph been playing, they will cause problems for anybody. And for them, they had some injuries earlier. Now Steph is playing out of his world. He's been playing great basketball. The team has been playing good, and then when they're not, he's been carrying them, which I have to give credit when credit is due. Dame Lillard been doing his thing. I mean, they've been having injuries, like the injury bug just hits them. I mean, Portland, to me, they're a scary team. I just don't like. I ain't gonna say I don't like. I'm not sold on their coach, Terry Stotts. Excuse me. And the Spurs are the Spurs, but I mean, I think they're lacking a lot. I just think that Popovich is doing what Popovich do. Take a team and give them a lot of confidence and all that good stuff. What team you think it's time to break up? Oh, I know which team you're talking about. You're talking about Portland. Yep. TC, we've been in a group chat. We've been talking about this for a good little minute now. They might have took too long to blow this team up. I don't think that they are a team that you can rely on just perimeter shooting from Dame Lillard and CJ McCullough. I think they should have broke those two up a while ago, maybe a couple years ago. Especially if if Dame is your franchise guy, you could have got rid of CJ and found something to replace him to complement Dame Lillard. But I do agree. I feel like they should have broke that up a long time ago. And I think that's the issue with them. Like they might win a playoff series. They might cause a little noise, but at the end of the day, they're not going to no finals or anything like that. I would be very surprised. They would just have to go on one of the, the best runs that we probably have seen in our lifetime from a team as mediocre as they've been, So that's the only way we'll think, I will see them, making any noise like that. Memphis has been playing real good basketball. Got a good coach on the sideline, and they stringing, a couple wins here and there and all that good stuff, and they staying relevant. They're in the 8th spot. So we'll see what happens then. But like anybody that's playing against Golden State, I think is going to have a problem because they're playing really good basketball. Because if I'm not mistaken, right now, they're actually playing right now against the Pelicans, and they're wearing the Pelicans out 65-46. And it's about to be halftime. So, and that's the playoff picture, and it got about 8 games left in most situations. And it's just a matter of seeing, what's going to happen, what's going to pan out. Like anything can happen right now because, I mean, like I was just telling you, the Lakers, Dallas, and Portland are all tied. And I need to take a look at it real quick one more time again, just to look at this real quick. With that situation, and all of them are 36-28. I can't see Memphis or Golden State may catch them because they're 4 games behind. So I mean, anything can happen if the Lakers keep going on this downward spiral. I mean, you can find them at 8 or 9. So it's a lot to play out over in the West. The East also. The East is pretty close also. So like you have Boston that is a game behind Miami, and Charlotte is 2 games or 2.5 games behind. So anything can happen there. A couple teams go on a 5-6 game winning streak. The other team lose 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, and then we're looking at a totally different situation from there. So, and we're going to keep moving on. And this is something that I don't really want to discuss, but I'm going to go ahead and discuss because all it's going to do is make a few people angry. Play in or no play in. And I asked that question because I'm gonna see if I can get something to pop up on my screen real quick. It might cover me up, but I'm gonna read it out so you can see it. It says you got Portland, Memphis, NOLA, Sacramento tinkering around there. If there's 5 or 10 games left, why not battle it out? Make them play each other, all 5 games. And this was LeBron James on play-in tournament in March of 2020. Now, this year is whoever came up with this shit needs to be fired. LeBron on May the 2nd after the Lakers lost and they close with a play-in game. LeBron gets, people take shots at him all the time. I kind of laid off of him a whole lot because, I want to see LeBron be successful. And I told him, sometimes I said that, sometimes he just need to stop trying to be the first person to comment on everything, and all that good stuff. But this right here is very, very, very interesting to me for him to make the comment last year and then this year. So basically, from what it sounds like is, if I'm not one of the ones in the play-in tournament style, then, we should do it right and allow these guys to, play in and battle it out amongst each other. But this year, I'm possibly going to be in a play-in simply because I've been hurt. My team hasn't been playing well. So the person who come up with the rule needs to be fired. That's an interesting take on that, LeBron, because, they just took your idea. They listened to what you said and they're doing it. And so just because your team is one of those teams that could possibly be in a play-in, then, it's not right. You don't like it. And I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan of it. I wouldn't lie to you. But the more and more I look at it, it will add some type of excitement to this. Because, and I agree with you, TC, there's going to be some trouble they have to play in. It's going to be a whole lot of trouble. I like it because now this adds some competitive fuel to the fire now. Because this is one issue that I've had with this NBA. It's like, it's no competition. Like, nobody wants to compete against each other. You get a few here and there compete against each other. They'll compete this play and then don't compete this play. They want to, play with each other, be buddy and all that good stuff. Now, this right here adds a little fuel to the fire where these teams in the bottom run of the playoffs have to play in. And I can understand, LeBron, you've been going to the finals all these years and all this good stuff, and then boom, all of a sudden you struggling to get in, you got to go play in. And I get it, but at the same time, it adds something different to this lackluster NBA that we've been getting with guys not playing defense, guys not wanting to compete. So now you got to do a little something, because if you don't, then you lose, you go home. Simple as that. It's simple as that. Oh. It's sad we have to look at it that way. Yeah, I agree, TC. I mean, it's sad we have to look at it that way. Like it's sad. But it's just like LeBron wants to speak on stuff, and he wants to be the guy that wants to bring all this stuff and bring shed light on stuff, and he did shed light on it. And the NBA took heed to what he said because I guess they thought it was a good idea. But now he doesn't like it. The person who comes up with it should be fired. Well, technically, the way I'm looking at it, you came up with it. So what you gonna do? That's the way I look at it. You're the one who come up with the idea. And I've seen some people post it and say, well, he was basically saying that, you got guys that was competing for the 8th spot. But if you look at this, all of them are right there competing from anywhere between 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If you lose one or two, you could be easily at any of those spots. So I don't see any issues with this play-in. So regardless of how you try to turn around and make it look like he was trying to say it was because, you got guys fighting for the 8th seed, it's the same as this right here. LeBron them could lose 3 more. The other team could win 3 more, and they could be easily 8, 9, or 10. That's how it is. So like, I don't want to hear that. Like, LeBron, shut up and get out there and play. And if you're not healthy enough to play, then your team is going to struggle, because I said this last week, and I'll say it again. I heard Stephen A. complain and talk about LeBron should be upset with his teammates because the way they played and all that good stuff. And I'm not making up excuses for these players, but the way this team is built solely around LeBron James. It's solely around him. So you have guys that play to his strengths. That's what it is. They can't play to each other's strengths. You got a whole gang of team that just plays to one person's strengths. That's the reason why the Lakers, you can be mad with the organization for doing it that way, because they should have built a team that was built to win regardless of if he gets hurt. They can still hold in the road and keep some things going, and hopefully he comes back and they done did everything. He can go ahead and finish writing the ship the way it's supposed to be. But this team is constructed solely around him, so that's the reason why they're struggling. So if he doesn't come back, and he doesn't come back 100%, then the Lakers are in trouble. They're in a whole lot of trouble. And Brian said it gives a team that was bitten by injuries early in the season a better shot. That year he didn't make the playoffs, it might have would have benefited him. And I totally agree with you, Brian, because if they did have this rule, then it would have benefited. I think it would have benefited him, tremendously. It would have benefited him tremendously. And I don't know if they're doing this simply because they had a shortened season. They got 72 games instead of 82, which you and I and some others have talked about this. They might need to lower some more games because of all this load management and guys not wanting to compete. They feel like if you just get to the playoffs, then you want to, like, that's when they have no sense of urgency. So I agree with you on that, Brian. But this play in or not to play in, which one do you want? Do you want to give these people credit for battling for the HC? Because if you look at it, you go back and look at the West. Matter of fact, you can go look at the East, and in any playoff, those those bottom teams, they're all fighting for 6, 7, and 8. Anybody lose, it can all go down to 3 games left, 2 games left. Sometimes it go down to the last night. So I want people to stop making up excuses for Bron. I want Bron to, shut up sometime, because it doesn't make any sense to try to speak on everything. And just because you don't like something, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, and the year before, you was all for it. So now you're in the situation that you don't like it. Like, just go out there, and if you have an issue with it, then take it up after the season. This is the rules. This is where we're going. This is how it's going to be. In the story, it's nothing that you can do about it now. They're not going to change it just because you're complaining about it. This is all said and done, and I feel like this right here might be the best remedy to making the NBA a little bit better and a little bit more competitive. Because if you tell me everybody below 6, so 7, 8, 9, and 10, they're going to give you 2 extra teams on both sides. And we're going to have a play-in style for y'all to get in for 7 and 8, basically. I really like that. And then you could just lower the games. Because 82 games for this generation, in my personal opinion, is too much. Because these guys don't take the game, in my opinion, as seriously as the guys back in the day. Simply because of this right here. There's more guaranteed money now. These guys are making buku money because of this TV deal and all that good stuff. But they don't take it serious like the other guys. These guys can have a jam pinky, or they can have a hangnail, and I'm just not going to play. I'm tired. I'm just not going to play. Whenever the accommodations for these guys are so much better now. Like, they basically have their own charter planes and, all that good stuff. Let's see what Henry said. Henry said, I like to play in because if a star gets hurt early, the team will be knocked out. Yeah, I mean, the play in Henry, that play in is I'm liking it more now that I'm seeing what's unfolding. Because originally I was like, who wants to see a play in? I'm gonna be honest with you, I was one of the ones that was like, I don't know about this, but I'm thinking like now you got guys. I mean, you got teams like Washington, for an example, where Russ and Brad Beal didn't mesh well together. And then a lot of people don't know this right here. The first part of the season, you ain't hear him complain about it. You ain't hear him say nothing about it. But Russ was hurt. Russ wasn't 100%. All-Star break came around. He was able to rest a little bit more. He was almost there. Come back. Now he's playing great basketball. Bradley Beal is feeding off of him. He was already playing great basketball. So this right here adds a little competitive fire to it because you still got other teams. For an example, New Orleans, it's just, a couple of games behind San Antonio. They win a few. They could easily be in one of those playing games. So it adds a little competitive fire to it, which that's what I like. And I think that's what the NBA needs, because if we don't get more competitive, nature, then after a while, it's just going to be glorified pickup. That's all it's going to be. And who really wants to see that? Like, I don't want to see, and, some people may. I don't want to see, guys look like they want to play against each other and then, stop and let somebody do it. If that's the case, then we might as well bring and one back, because that's what happened to and one. I mean, they did that some years ago, and you see what happened there. Yeah, it didn't much happen. Work good for the NFL. Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, here we'll see. Like, the playing or not playing. I'm liking the idea simply from a competitive standpoint, because I'm seeing what some of these bottom teams are doing versus, some of the top teams that, are starting to struggle or having injuries, like the Lakers, for an example. But in this situation, I think LeBron is wrong. And like now, like LeBron, he has enough people coming at him, every which way, and just trying to get at him on every situation. But these last few weeks, he's been shooting himself in the foot, like, just speaking on stuff and not really, really, really thinking it out. And for all you people, before I get off this subject, that think that, you're making up excuses for LeBron and all that good stuff, stop making up excuses. Because if I'm not mistaken, I know a lot of you a few years ago, KD had tweeted talking about everybody want to go to Miami and LA and let's get back to competing. And, he leaves Oklahoma City and goes to Golden State. All y'all want to bring that tweet up, but, not looking at the whole totality of the situation and knowing how he felt about, why he went there and all that good stuff. It had nothing to do with competing. But that's just an example of what y'all do. Like, y'all bring up certain stuff about things. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it to the point where, this one guy says this and he didn't mean it this way. But then another guy said, you want to murder him for it. So, like, keep the same energy. Whenever that tweet came out for KD, all of y'all, KD, this right here, this tweet didn't get old, didn't age well. Well, same thing with LeBron. This is not age well. This is 1 year out when he was talking about, having play-ins. And now, the Lakers may be one of the teams that have to play in for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what reason it is, but for whatever reason, they might have a play-in, and now he has an issue with it. So, and I guess, that's just him being him, because we talk about it all the time. Nobody say that would have been time for him to sit around and tweet about how good somebody is and what they did and this, that, and the third, instead of just worried about his team and all that good stuff. So, y'all remember the same energy that you gave towards KD about the compete tweet. The same thing goes here. So, let's LeBron, let's just leave some stuff alone. because just because you're not feeling it doesn't mean the NBA is going to change it. Like you're a huge figure in the NBA, but you're not. The brand is going to outweigh you all the time. So, hopefully you come back. You're healthy enough to keep your team from having to play in this play-in game. Simple as that. All right, and we're gonna stay in the NBA. And we're staying in the NBA. We're going to talk about a game that happened last night or yesterday afternoon. And this game was between the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. And so the Greek Freak Big Night versus the Nets. I'll say this right here. The Greek Freak had a hell of a game yesterday. He had 49 points on 21 of 36 shooting, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. And I think he was 3 for 6 from the free throw line. So not a whole lot of free throw shooting, but that's not good at 50% if the ball is going to be primarily in your hands a whole lot. The first thing I said whenever, because I didn't get to watch the entire game, I got to watch a good portion of it. And when I watched that good portion, I watched some of it on my phone and everything because I was out working. And I said, the first thing I said was, can the Greek Freak do this in a 7-game series where, he has to carry the load. He has to do it because this is just the regular season. So anybody can get up for one game, a Sunday game, national televised, you're playing in prime time, all that good stuff. So, anybody can get up for that. Any superstar can get up for that. But can you do that for 4 games to win in a 4 out of 7 series? Well, actually, I mean, if the game goes 7, you need to have those type of numbers 7 games. But then, not only him, would a team play that well? Because the team had to play particularly well for him, in order for him to do that. So they won that game yesterday, and it was a big deal. Don't get me wrong, it was a big deal. They won the game 114 to 117. And like I said, he had 49 points. KD ended up with 42 on 16 and 33 shooting. And by far, I will say this wasn't one of his greatest games shooting, because we all know how efficient KD is. 16 for 33, that's not efficient at all. KD is normally one of them guys, you give him, if he took 33 shots, he's making 23 of them. So that would have gave him 50. Brian, you say those are regular season threes. That release would never be comfortable. If he misses a few, he'll be a thinking player. That's when you get started offensive fouls. He needs to focus more on foul shooting than 3-point shooting. Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, because, but the thing about it is people trying to get him to play the way the league is played now, and that's not his game. That shot is horrendous. It doesn't look good when it leaves. Matter of fact, it doesn't look good whenever he get ready to shoot it. Like his body just hurts in order to shoot that basketball like that. But but when the playoffs come and the game slows down, yes, I think that's going to be the problem, because they're going to dare him. They're going to dare him to shoot. Now, this is one thing that I will say about this right here, Brian. Yesterday it was primarily against like DeAndre Jordan, if I'm not mistaken, and Blake Griffin. I do believe that Kevin Durant is going to have to, lace him up and go ahead and take that matchup sometimes. And, and let them two go at it. Like, you're going to have to say that I'm about to, take your game. Like I'm going to play. You shouldn't leave that to DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, them guys. I think that Kevin Durant is going to have to really pick up that assignment in order for Brooklyn to beat Milwaukee. Do I think the rest of the Milwaukee Bucks will play that great again for 4 games? I don't think so. They just have to prove me wrong. We'll have to see. And then another key element in this is James Harden didn't play. So That's another key element. And you know, Kevin Durant had a hell of a game, scoring wise, but I think his percentages wise, I think you know it wasn't efficient. Kevin Durant, it wasn't efficient at all. Um, um, say Brian, that's true. I don't think Giannis could physically hurt him if he matches up with him too much. No, I don't think so either. But I just feel like you know he's gonna have to take that matchup, and in order for Milwaukee to beat Brooklyn, Giannis is going to have to take the assignment on KD, which I don't think that will be good for Giannis because I don't think he's one of the best on ball defenders. I don't think he defend well. I think he'll be in a lot of foul trouble. But Kevin, that's because KD is a multi versatile player. He can take you to the post. He can shoot the three. He can handle the ball. The Greek Freak is either, you know, if he hit a couple threes, it's freakish and it's flukish. But you know, he's trying to get to the basket. He's better in the open court. And so I feel like, you know, Kevin Durant has a better chance of limiting Antetokounmpo's touches and scoring versus him being able to limit KD's because KD is just a little bit more versatile whenever it comes to, you know, playing and handle the ball. And I think that's where the Greek Freak would struggle at if he had to be the one that was guarding KD. And so, you know, hell of a night. Don't get me wrong about that. I applaud you for that because you did it on, you know, one of the biggest stages on Sunday. You know, you played against the Brooklyn Nets, and if I'm not mistaken, that was a home game for you guys. So, you know, y'all squeaked out the victory. But can you do that in the playoffs? Because, you know, the Greek Freak and Paul George are two people that I stopped measuring in the regular season because, you know, we've seen how great they can be in the regular season. I want to see you do this come playoff time. Whatever really, 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 really matters. I want to see you do that during playoff time. So, you know, we got 8 games left. I'm not sure if these two will play against each other again. But if they do, I definitely like to be in front of television just to see it and see what they do. I think that, you know, Brooklyn will make the adjustments. You know, I'm not sold on Budenholzer as a coach. I think he's a great, you know, regular season coach, but I'm not sold on him in the playoffs either. So I have to see him, you know, do something in the playoffs in order for me to change my mind on him and the Milwaukee Bucks. And so, you know, he had a hell of a game. That was a tough game to have, and the perfect timing to have it. So shout out to the Greek Freak. We're gonna keep moving on. I normally do NBA power rankings, but I'm not doing power rankings because it's almost about to be the end of the season. So the power rankings go to all the top dogs right now. Anybody 1 through 5, in my personal opinion, or 1 through 6 in each in the East and the West. So you know you got Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, the New York Knicks, Atlanta Hawks, and the Miami Heat. That's the top of the East. Then you got Phoenix, Utah, Denver, Clippers, Dallas, and Lakers. That's the top 6 in the West. So what we'll do is once these games are over, we'll do a final power rankings before we go to the playoffs and before the play-in game. The play-ins, if I'm not mistaken, starts in 2 weeks, May 18th. It starts that day, if I'm not mistaken. If my memory serves me correct. So not gonna get into NBA power rankings. And so I'm just going to, you know, end the show. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you my final word. And my final word is it's about competition. And this just goes on in life and all that good stuff. We have, if you play sports, it's all about competition. If you play me, I'm trying to destroy you. I'm trying to beat you because it's just my competitive nature and my competitive fire. You know, I want to win. I don't like losing, so, you know, that's how I am. But in life, we don't have to be competitive with each other. It's enough out here for everybody else, for everybody. So I do a podcast, and I do it just simply because I like to talk. I talk sports. It used to be me and my brothers, because me and my brothers could call each other. We could talk sports, and we would be loud and debating each other, and just unfortunately, he just didn't have time to do it. So boom, I do it by myself now, and it's just something that I really, really like to do. I like to talk sports. Anybody, and that's right, TC. In between the lines is war. You my nephew, but if we playing against each other, I'm trying to kick your ass. You trying to kick mine. Plain and simple. That's how it is. But in life, it doesn't have to be that way. And I use this for an example, and I've told I've told people this plenty of times. People, and sometimes it's black people, we play each other against each other. So if I have my food truck and restaurant, somebody else got their food truck and restaurant, and then somebody want to say, oh, well, your food is better than theirs, and they trying to copy you and do this, and I hope you do better than them, and this, that, and the third. And I have to stop people, and I tell people this right here. I go to different restaurants because I want a different taste every time I go to it. I don't want to go to this restaurant and that restaurant, and all of them taste the same. That's not what they might as well just be one then. But it's enough out here for everybody. Everybody got to eat, and everybody doesn't want the same thing all the time. So everybody should prosper. And this is the way I look at it. If you look at hotels, you can take Starwood Marriott. They'll put a 4-point Sheraton, a Westin, and now they got Marriott and Starwood together, and then you have a Spring Hill Suites, and then you can look around, and Hilton done got them a couple of them in there. The Holiday Inn have theirs, and they all are just all in the same parking lot, all in the same area. And if you look at them, all of them be sold out. Because if I go to one, I might not want to spend that kind of money this time. So, I'll go to this other one. Or I don't mind spending money, but guess what? All of them is just about booked, and I can't get nothing but this one right here. So stop competing with each other in everything, because it's enough out here for everybody. Like, we don't have to compete. And I learned this whenever I was detailing cars here in Oklahoma City the first time. I was detailing my brothers and Russ's them cars, and a white guy came up to me, and I had seen him a few times in the neighborhood. He was detailing somebody's cars, and he was like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I was like, "I'm doing good. How are you?" And I was interested to see what he was going to say, because I thought it was kind of strange that I'm detailing cars, he detailing cars, and he want to come up and hold a conversation. Most of the time when that happens, they want to pry on your business and find out stuff. But this guy said to me, he said, "Hey," he said, I be seeing you washing cars all the time. We run into each other. I just want to introduce myself." And I said, "Well, I'm Tony. Nice to meet you, man. I appreciate you stopping by." He said, "Not only that, man," he said, "You got any cards?" I said, "Yeah, I got some cards. Got some cards and some flyers." He said, "Matter of fact, just give me a number." He said, "Because I see the work that you do." He said, "Man, I get jobs all the time, and I know I can't do them." He said, "I'll just pass them on to you." I said, "Shoot, man." I said, "Sometimes I have stuff I can't do. I just pass them." He said, and that's how we network together. He got a mobile detailing. I have mobile detailing. And we're sitting here saying that if we have a little too much, we'll send it to each other. And that kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And I said to myself, like, that's one way that we can all get better. This guy's looking like, this is not my competition. This right here is somebody that we can just better and grow together. And if you look at it that way, I guarantee you life will be so much better for you than it really is, because you don't have to fight and claw and compete against one another. Sometimes you just have to share the wealth. It's enough out here for everybody. Like I have a food truck. I don't compete against nobody besides myself, because each day I want to be better, and not better than the next restaurant. I want to be better than I was the day before. And so this is what we need to start doing. We need to start looking at each other as franchises together instead of competition. And if we get that competition aspect out of us, especially in my community, then we would be so much better together. Like, and I use these guys for an example, and they may be watching, may watch sometimes. I got a cousin named Jeff Maynard. He detailed cars. He knew I detailed cars. We having a conversation, and I was just trying to give him some insight on how to make his car wash better. But then you got other guys. I got a cousin, Tony Hurst. He's down there detailing cars. If he called me right now and say, "Hey man, I need some advice on something," damn it, I'm gonna give it to him. Even though we both detail cars, but I want him to be successful. I want my cousin Jeff to be successful, and I want them to be professional about it. And they both can be great together. And that's what people fail to realize is just because we have the same thing doesn't mean that, you are my enemy. Sometimes, people having the same thing, that's a blessing in disguise. And people don't realize it. Like, sometimes we just got to use this stuff to network. So stop with the competition and let's just do big things together. And that's my final word. And I'm going to leave it at that. And I just want to say, anybody who came on here, watch, participate. I know my nephew TC, he likes to talk a whole lot. Told me he was going to stay up. Brian, I appreciate you checking it out. Anybody else who checked out Henry, whatever. So, and I'll repost it again on my page probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Appreciate everybody checking it out. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you supporting the young black brother. So until next week, everybody have a good rest of your week. This is Monday. Make sure everything goes uphill from here on. Hey, make that money, be successful. Hey, and wake up each day and have a better outlook on life, because you could be better than you were the day before and the day before and the day before. So I just want to say good night. TC, say this, big things together. Brian, powerful. Appreciate you guys watching. Hey, everybody have a good night. Until next Monday, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. This episode of Brother Talks come to an end right now.